Hi there, my name is Ryan Deiss. I am the co-founder and CEO of Digital Marketer, and I'm really excited to be talking to you right now about one of my favorite subjects, and that is the launch, right? How do you actually go out there and launch a brand new brand, a brand new product, or a brand new business? Now, this is for you if you're one of those types of people where you've got a great idea, maybe you bought the domain name, heck, maybe even had a logo created, 99 designs, maybe even went over to Vistaprint, got your 500 free business cards, but you don't have any customers. In this video series, I want to show you how to get customers, get that first customer, and then be able to scale beyond that. It's also for you if you tried to launch in the past and it didn't go so well. Right? So if you had a failed launch, but you still really believe in your product or service, maybe what you're due for is a relaunch. And I've been a part of a lot of these in the past, and it's also for you if you're currently running or a part of a successful business, but maybe you've plateaued, and what you need is that launch to get you to the next level. So whether we're talking about a launch or a relaunch, I love this topic because it's an event. It's an event where something happens. We're able to build something new. And what I want to talk to you about specifically in this very first video is how to failure-proof your launch. How do we make sure that when you go out there and launch, it actually works, right? That the product or service that we're bringing to market, that the new business or the new brand that we're launching is something that people actually want, right? How do we do that? Well, to do that, we need the launch checklist, all right? So here is the launch checklist. Now, this is going to seem really short. And it's because it is, and that's by design. A lot of people think that they need to know all this different stuff. They need to have all these things figured out if they're going to launch. They think they need to have a gorgeous logo, right? They think they need to know exactly who their market is. That's simply not the case. If you want to launch a brand new business, a brand new product line, brand, whatever, these are the only three things that you absolutely positively must have prior to launch, okay? And those things are, number one, a problem looking for a solution. Now, this sounds really, really, really simple, but this is the one that it seems to me like people forget about, right? They forget about the fact that the role of business is to solve people's problems. I don't care if you're B2B or B2C, everything is H to H. Everything is human to human. You're a human solving the problems of your fellow human beings. So what is that? Can you clearly articulate the problem that you solve? If not, I'm going to show you how to do that right here in this video, but it's big, right? It's big, big, big. Not talking about our products, right? Not talking about the products, but talking about the problems that we solve. Right? I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, give you a really great formula for accomplishing just that. The next thing that you need is a statement of value. A statement of value. This is also so incredibly essential. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've worked with over the years, and they kind of have this like American Idol syndrome. I know the show's no longer on the air, but you probably remember it, right? Somebody'd go on American Idol in the first couple of episodes of the season, you know, and they go out there and they sing, and they're really, really terrible, and so they justifiably get booted off the show. They're like, no, that was terrible. You should go and do something else. And as they're leaving, they're freaking out and they're hugging their friends and their mom or dad. They're like, why? I wanted it so badly. I wanted it so badly. I worked so hard. I've got news for you. The market doesn't care how badly you want something. The market doesn't care how badly you have worked. Now, I know that seems a little bit harsh, but it's the reality. The market rewards those who deliver real value. Okay? That's what this is all about. And at this stage in the game before you launch, you need to be crystal clear on what is the value that you bring, right? Why do you truly deserve to win? Not because you want it more than the next person, or because you've tried harder, because you've worked harder, or because you grew up in a really rough situation and so you deserve it. Again, don't be that pathetic American, Idol contestant person. Be the person that deserves to win because you're the person that's bringing the most value. I'm going to show you exactly how to know what your value is, and more importantly, how to articulate it, because the articulation of this value is what's known as marketing. And we're going to get to that right now right here in just a moment in this video. The third thing, which we're going to cover actually in the next video because it's such a significant topic, is you need a customer factory. You need a predictable selling strategy. You need an assembly line of sorts for how you go about delivering this value. You need to be crystal clear on how do we take somebody from having no clue who you are, an absolute stranger, somebody who's completely unaware of your mere existence. How do we take them to a point of awareness, all the way up until becoming an active advocate and promoter for you and your brand. How do we do that? I'm going to show you how to do that in video number 2, and then in video number 3, I'm going to show you exactly how we've accomplished this at Digital Marketer, so definitely stay tuned for that. So these are the only 3 things that you really need. Now, question I have for you is what's not on this list? Well, some of the things that aren't on this list obviously are things like a logo, business cards, all the things that people go out there and do first, but there's a really biggie that is missing from this list, and it's missing intentionally. And that thing is this right here, your product. Your product. Yes, I really mean this. You don't actually have to know what your product is going to be to launch. Right? Now, we're going to talk a lot more when we get into the actual Launch Grid workshop about how you can create a minimum viable offer, not even a minimum viable product, but a minimum viable offer to know if the market truly wants what you're selling before you go through all the trouble of creating it. So right now at launch phase, you don't even have to know exactly what your product is going to be, because products take different shapes, they take different iterations. Some of the most valuable companies in the world began as something else. They began as a feature to a completely different product, and then after launch, the business owners and the entrepreneurs and the founders wisely realized, hey, we need to make a pivot here. Right? We need to make a pivot here because what we thought the market wanted isn't actually what they want. They really want this other thing. So let's change the product. So if we shift our mindset from becoming product-centric to becoming value-centric, becoming customer-centric, having everything about the launch be about how can we truly deliver value to the customers, then we're going to ensure that we leave room for the pivot. And that's exactly what you want. A lot of times you may have had a failed product launch in the past, and it's because you were trying to launch a product instead of trying to launch value, instead of trying to go out there to the marketplace and say, hey, here's what I can do. This product can take a lot of different forms, but really, what do you need? How can I serve you? That's what we're trying to figure out during the launch phase. So don't get stuck on your product. Leave room for the pivot. The other reason to not get stuck on the product is because products change, tastes change. If you don't believe that, I submit to you the piano key tie, right? It's a little bit creepy. It's like he's looking over my shoulder. Okay, the piano key tie, aside from being a punchline in maybe one of the greatest movies ever made, Zoolander, the piano key tie was, all the rage in 1980s fashion, right? If you were hip and you were cool in the 1980s, you had a piano key tie. You were rocking one of these, particular products, right? But then what happened? Well, for very good reason, as you can see here, the piano key tie went out of fashion. Okay, the piano key tie went out of fashion. So what happened to the inventor of the piano key tie? Well, hopefully he or she went on to do something else that was very valuable and productive. But I want to ask you right now, is your business, are you thinking of it like the piano key tie, where you're at risk of being a one-hit wonder, a one and done, right? Something that comes out and it's really, really big and really, really bright, and then it fizzles. Or do you want to build a brand that lasts, right? Do you want to build a piano key tie, or do you want to build a brand like Chanel, right? When you think about Chanel, you think about a brand that has been around for decades. Decade after decade after decade. Now, if you go back and look at dresses, for example, that Chanel has sent down the runway, they've changed dramatically. It's from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and on into this century. They've changed dramatically. The product has changed, but their customer and the value that they bring and who they advocate for, that has never changed. So because they did not center their business around a product, because their business was not product-centric, but instead market-centric, instead of value-centric, right? They are able to say, this is our woman, this is who we advocate for, this is what we're gonna make for her, and if her tastes change, well, we will change along with them. That's what nimble companies do. That's what I want you to be able to do. That's why product is not essential from the beginning. We want to leave room for the pivot, okay? Leave room for the pivot. So no piano key ties. Promise? We're not gonna make a piano key ties here, all right? Okay, I mentioned we're gonna talk about Customer Factory in the next one. What I wanna do right now, though, is get you the first two, right? How do you clearly identify, what's the problem and how are you gonna solve it? What's your statement of value? So let's dive into that right now. Let's talk about How do you go about crafting a statement of value for your brand? Now, before we actually do that, I want to clarify one thing, and this is a writer downer. There's going to be a lot of writer downers throughout this class and this free course, and so this is definitely one of them, and it's the first one. A statement of value, okay? A statement of value is not the same as a unique selling proposition. A statement of value is not the same as a unique selling proposition. Now, you probably heard about a unique selling proposition. You probably heard the phrase, USP, right? What makes your product or your business unique? And I'm not saying that they're wholly invaluable or not valuable. They have value to them. For example, at Digital Marketer, our unique selling proposition is that we actually do this stuff. While there's a lot of researchers out there reporting, giving data, and there's a lot of, speakers and, gurus out there talking about stuff that maybe sounds like it should work, that is at best old and at worst a logical lie. We're not that. We actually do this stuff. So Digital Marketer, when we tell you something works, it's because we tested it, we tried it, and we know it works because we do this stuff. That's our unique selling proposition. Now, is that good? Is that helpful? Sure, to an extent, right? But really, unique selling propositions are only helpful when you're at a place of comparison, right? When somebody has already reached a point as a prospect or a customer where they're comparing two things, right? They're comparing two different products, two different businesses, two different brands. They're trying to figure out, do I go with option A or do I go with option B? In that case, a unique selling proposition is critical. But when we're talking about a launch, right? When we're talking about a launch, getting out there, right? Getting somebody to actually become aware that we exist, getting them to make those first critical decisions to become a customer of ours. The uniqueness of our product is secondary to the value that we bring. So the issue that I have with the unique selling proposition is, again, it's product centric. And I want you, if you're gonna launch, I want you to get out of the product centric mindset and shift towards a customer centric mindset. So a unique selling proposition is product centric. Talks about what makes you, your product, your business, your brand better than everybody else. I'm here to tell you, your customers and clients don't freaking care. They just want to know, how can you help them? What is the value that you bring into their lives? And to state this, to best articulate this, you need a statement of value. Okay, so let's talk about how you go about getting a statement of value. This is a pretty simple process, but it's amazingly powerful. So don't let the simplicity of this kind of take you back and think like, I can kind of disregard this. What I want you to envision right now, and this is, again, worth writing down. It's worth getting out a sheet of paper and kind of writing along with me. As you can see, I think even if you're bad at drawing, you can handle this. I want you to imagine right now your prospective customer, all right? This is Mr. or Mrs. Before, right? And as you can see, they're not particularly happy, right? They're somewhat discontent. Maybe they're frustrated, right? Maybe they're decently happy, but they could be even happier, right? I mean, Apple, for example, Apple's not necessarily solving, curing cancer, or saving people's lives, but they're taking people who, are already pretty happy, already well off, and making them really happy, really ecstatic. That's why people wait online to buy their stuff. So whatever you're selling, I really don't care what it is, you're talking to someone initially who is in this before state. All right, so I want you to draw this stick figure. This is Mr. Before, Mrs. After, right? Who is this for you? Who is this for you and for your brand? What are they like in this before state? Describe them and describe their emotional state. Are they frustrated? Are they angry? Are they unhealthy? What is it? And just write that down in the space below them. Write down what is their before state. Begin to think about that. What is the state of your customer or client before they meet you, before they find out about you? Now let's leap forward into the future. What is their after state? What are they going to be like after they've experienced your product or service, after you have delivered the value and the benefits that you have to bring? What is this after state like? Right? What is that? Describe that as well. Are they now incredibly joyful? Are they, rich and thin? Right? What is it? Describe it both from a physical, tangible state. Describe it from an emotional state. Think about what's their average day like? How has that changed? How's their status changed? Right? Think about all these different things and begin to write out what is their after state. And the reason that this is so critical, thinking about before state versus after state, is because that really is what we're doing in business, right? When you're setting up a business, or even a nonprofit for that matter, right? If you're out there in the world running a business, running a company, selling a product, delivering a service, Your job is to shift people from this before state to this after state. And the greater the degree of this shift, right, the further down this continuum that you move them, the greater value that you're bringing. I mean, we think about doctors, right? Think about a doctor for a minute. Dead, not dead, right? Big value shift. That's why maybe doctors should get paid a whole lot more. Teachers too. Dumb, less dumb, right? I mean, it literally applies to everything. If you're a personal trainer, overweight, thin and healthy, right? What is it for you? What is it for you? But this process right here, this value continuum, which we're going to unpack more, especially in the next video, is so critical. This is how you begin to articulate the value that you bring. And it's also what's known as marketing. Because at the end of the day, good marketing and good copywriting simply articulates this shift from the before state to the after state. That's it. If you want to be a better marketer, if you want to be a better copywriter, simply begin to speak in terms of what is the ideal after? What is this ideal after for your market, for your customer, for your client? What is their ideal after state? What is it like before? And then explain, look, right now you're probably here, but I'm going to be able to take you over here, which is where you really want to be, okay? That's all marketing and copywriting is. That's all good marketing and copywriting is. People like to overcomplicate it. They like to apply, formulas and shenanigans to it. But it's as simple as this, right? Speaking to the before, speaking to the after, and articulating how your product or service can accomplish this particular shift, okay? If you can do that, now you can begin to craft your statement of value, right? That's what we need. We need to know the ideal after. We need to know who our market is, what they're feeling, know what our product service is, and now we can craft our statement of value. This is the formula for crafting your statement of value, and I want you to do this right now. Even if you need to pause this video, take a moment to do this, okay? Product name, right? What is the product or service that we're talking about right now? Or maybe company name. It's appropriate to craft a statement of value for your company as a whole, and it also makes sense to craft a statement of value for each product or each product line, because they could be very different. They might even have different customer avatars, right? So this product enables this fellow human being to experience whatever their ideal after is. So whatever you wrote down underneath the after state, that's what goes into this line. This is so much more than a tagline. Being able to say, hey, our product enables you, our customer, to experience this ideal after, the ideal after that we know you want. That is a statement of value. Can you see how this is so much more powerful than a unique selling proposition? You see how this is so much more powerful, and why I say it's critical. It's absolutely critical that you have these things prior to launch. You must be able to identify the problem, looking for a solution. That's the before state, right? That was checkbox number one. And you must be able to have one of these, a statement of value, a clear articulation of the value that you bring through your product or service. So now that you know exactly what your market wants, exactly what your customers or client wants, the hard work is done, right? All you need to do is kind of stand up on the highest mountain and just proclaim to all who can hear you that you're the best, right? Right? Wrong, right? Probably figured that out, right? Wrong. Not yet. We're closer, but we're not there yet. And the reason is, and this is another writer downer, okay? Just because you know your market wants what you're offering, just because you know they want it, that doesn't mean they know they want it. They may still be unaware that they even have this problem, nor does it mean that they want it from you, at least not yet, okay? Just because you know your product or service is something that your market wants, that doesn't mean that they know that they want it, nor does it mean that they necessarily want it from you, at least not yet. And to get this point across, I'll use a simple analogy from the dating world, right? I mean, if whether you're married or single, you've probably been out dating. Now I want you to imagine that you're single person, and let's say you just decide, you know what, I figure if I go out to a bar tonight, the vast majority of the people in there, they're gonna wanna meet somebody, right? And in fact, I bet the majority of them probably want to get married at some point. If they're single, most people who are single would kind of like to get married. Not all, but I bet most of them do. So the odds are in my favor that if I go to a bar tonight and I walk in and I say, hey, everybody, I am single. I am successful, I am a very nice person, and I would like to get married. Who would like to marry me? I'm guessing most of you would, since I know that most of you would like to get married at some point. I too would like to get married. What do you say we do this thing? Now, we would all acknowledge that that's freaking creepy, right? If somebody were to do that, that would be creepy. At best, they would get laughed out of the bar. Somebody would hopefully think that they were joking, because that's freaking weird. But that's exactly what a lot of us want to do in our marketing, right? We want to just go out there and because, oh, I know they want it, I know they need it, we want to say, okay, cool, we have it, here you go, here you go. And it just doesn't work for the reason that I just described, okay? So what do we need to really make this work? Well, you need one of these. You need a customer factory, right? You need a way of transporting in an assembly line-like fashion your ideal customer, your ideal prospect, before they even know that you exist, from that state of awareness to becoming a subscriber, to becoming a customer, to beginning to experience the value, getting really, really excited about it, ascending, to eventually becoming a rabid fan of you and your brand, right? And we need to think about the process for how this is going to occur. We need to think about it, plan it, so that we can engineer it when we actually go forth and launch. So this is what we're going to be talking about a lot more in the next video. Some other kind of final things to close out this video, a little bit of homework. Again, these are the 3 questions that you must be able to answer before you launch, all right? I want you to promise me here that you're gonna have answers, really good answers, to all 3 of these questions before you go out there and launch. The first one is the problem real? Are you solving a real problem? And the way that you know that is to think about your customers and picture them in that before state, okay? Is the problem real? Is it something felt? Question number 2, can you actually solve this problem? Right now, if you can speak your statement of value and you can say like, yes, this is true, I didn't just make this up, right? If you're actually going to encumber yourself, with the truth, right, and you can speak that statement of value, then you already have the answer to this question. The answer is, yes, I can, insert statement of value here, okay? The third question, can you convince people who don't yet know you that you are actually the person who can solve their problem? And that's the question that we're going to answer in the next video. Now, I'll tell you, if you would like some additional help and support answering all of these questions, getting additional clarity on your statement of value, and really, really diving into this first part, we are putting together a 6-week workshop called LaunchGrid. And at LaunchGrid, I'm gonna be teaching you our LaunchGrid model, and showing you how we go about launching, the different process that we go through, how we do the planning phase, how we test ahead of time to make sure that it really is going to work before we do a significant launch, how we actually create all the assets for the launch, all the copy assets, the landing page assets, all those different things. We're gonna be covering all of that from beginning to launch and beyond in the LaunchGrid workshop. So if you'd like more information about it, there should be a link somewhere on this page. If the LaunchGrid workshop is currently open, you can feel free to register. In fact, I absolutely would if you watched to this point. And if it isn't yet open, then definitely make sure that you sign up for the waiting list. Till then though, I will see you in video number 2. We're gonna talk about how to build your customer factory. Thanks.